Hello, hello.
Hello?
Hello? Is anyone out there?
It's a mom's night out.
Hey, guys.
Welcome.
Hi.
Happy Wednesday.
Happy Wednesday. How's everybody doing?
You know, the fall is a really hard time.
I don't know that I realized it was this hard in past falls start to the school year.
Yeah,
know.
this one feels like a little bit of like a merry-go-round, and you're like just holding on and it's spinning and you're like hanging off the edge. You're just...
What's that playground thing that it's like the merry-go-round at the playground?
Yeah.
Oh, I was saying merry-go-round like the carousel.
Oh, no, like I think that's called a I don't know what it's called.
I don't know what it's called,
But you know
I
what I'm talking about.
Exactly what you're talking
We'll
about.
post a pic.
Yeah, and I'm just hanging on someone spinning it really fast, and
You're
can't
just
even
dragging. I just feel like I'm dragging with like one hand, like hitting the rocks as they come through.
And as you're spinning, you remembered like you weren't supposed to be at the park; you were supposed to be somewhere else.
Yeah, soccer practice.
Dude.
So yeah, fall is very, very super busy.
How
So
about how
everybody-
I just I was like telling you my plans for tomorrow night, and you guys were like, no, you're not doing that because you have this to do. And I was like, wait,
I know.
I planned a whole
happens.
other day
Sorry.
in my head. No, thank you.
It fell off the calendar or
Thank you
something.
for the pro tip.
Oh God,
It's on the calendar. I just didn't see it somehow.
guys, it's tough. It's tough. It's a tough world out there.
Sure is.
So much so, I just want to dive into the topic of tonight because it feels very relevant and timely. And maybe they plan to release this in the fall. But there was the U.S. Surgeon General issued a public health advisory on the stress parents are experiencing, just like parenting is stressful for your health, which is crazy. But by
Thank God. It's about time.
About
It's
time.
also like a duh.
Send some fucking
Duh.
help, please.
Duh. And we'll get all into this, but it's highlighting the urgent need to better support parents, caregivers, and families to help communities thrive. I love that the title of it was Parents Under Pressure. But he just noticed, and this whole thing was about, we need to recognize a culture shift that has to happen. I mean, people are deciding not to have children because people are seeing it as being too stressful, and particularly for financial reasons, which, wow, that's crazy.
I know.
Yeah, but I get it.
I get it too.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think any of us are surprised by this. It just is like, yeah, what took so long?
Okay, so I meant to look this up, and now I'm going to kick myself. Maybe I'll Google it while we're talking. I was like, so Vivek, is that how you say it?
Yeah.
Vivek Murthy. He's a younger guy.
Yeah,
I was thinking he must have
he has children.
kids. How old is he?
I don't know.
Thank God.
I don't know how old he is, but he definitely has younger children.
He's 47.
Yeah,
Finally.
Yeah.
I do think, and I had this, we'll discuss it now. I think it's wild that I think it means more coming from a man than it would have been from a woman in government raising these issues.
I know.
Good point.
You put that in our thoughts when we were preparing for this episode, and I was like, wait, that's such a good point.
Yeah.
If a woman would have done this, I think people
Would be like, she's dramatic.
Yeah.
Oh, she's just complaining. But when a man does it, are people going to take him seriously?
I think people probably would have laughed and like, we can't issue that as a public health advisory. Like, that's just being a parent.
Yeah. So
I don't know.
So
He's been
thank
on
you,
a lot
Vivek.
Vivek, you've done a great job. And I think he's also done a really great job of, I've just listened to a few of his interviews. He did a really good one on NPR.
yeah,
And it's just nice hearing like from a dad's perspective.
I know. And
He's
he
a dad.
mentions that he's a dad. Like, he's like, if I'm a dad and I'm saying this, hello.
I know. Do we think, and I know we pulled some of the listeners, so I'll get that after we give our own thoughts. Do you think parenting today is more stressful than when our parents were raising us in their generation?
Yep.
Yes.
I sure do.
Yeah.
I think so too. I just think we have a lot more. There's the same stresses that our parents had to deal with, right? So, just raising kids and how are you going to raise, a respectful child and all that comes with that. But now, you guys, we're dealing with social media.
Yes.
We're dealing with comparisons. We're dealing with gun violence. Like, there's so much more that we're having to deal with than our parents.
There's so much more information that's readily available to us. Like,
Yeah.
I feel like before you got your information from the news and it was local and you were sort of in your little bubble and there's national news, but I don't know, it felt more filtered, right?
Yeah.
And so now, like, you pick up your phone and you're seeing what's going on globally.
Yeah.
It's the comparison
I
aspect.
also think that, you know, at least, and this, both of my parents worked, but my dad really had the career and my mom had part-time jobs while my brother and I were in school. And now that's not the norm. Two parents, it's a dual income life now. Like both parents have full-time jobs. And I think that we haven't really moved into that supportive sort of situation for both parents with young children.
Exactly. Like if you're both working and you're both expected to be at the office, it does not work.
No.
It does not.
I know.
The way the childcare set up and post-COVID, it's really been hard because a lot of daycare places and after school centers, like for a while, now it's getting better. They severely cut their hours. So even when parents were supposed to be back at work, the place we were going, they just couldn't find the staffing. So
Same.
I couldn't physically be in the office for 8 hours because my daycare was only open 8 hours.
Yep.
So how am I going to drive?
Yeah.
I also think the public schools are not set up for working parents. Like, you know, our town's on a by-year thing. So, you know, one school in the town gets out at 2:30, the elementary school, and then the other gets out at 3. But that half an hour makes such a difference.
I know.
I remember last year thinking, like, and you're in this boat now, Mandy, because you're on the early
2:30.
train, and it's like 2:30. I can't close my day down by that.
No.
And then you're having to pay for the aftercare. It's just wild.
I know. We are fortunately, so our town does have an after school option.
Yeah.
Because
I
without
know.
that, oh my God, you'd be completely screwed. But back to the listener results. So we polled you guys and it was, that same question of, do you think our generation is more stressed than our parents' generation? 75% of you said yes, absolutely, the camp we are in. Nobody said no. So thank you for that because I would have had to chase you down.
Mandy would have fought you.
I would have fought you.
Instagram.
We would have gotten into a internet battle. Thankfully, I did not have to do that. I did not have the time today. 25% of you said same amount of stress. And my husband was one of those people, which I'm a little bit shocked by that.
Did you ask him about it? Or
No. Thought that would
Okay.
have started an unnecessary fight before I'm walking out the door.
I would agree.
So I can kind of see that, right? So you talked about like a connected family with a dad who had the career and your mom had part-time jobs. So I came from a very different family of divorce. And so my dad was working. My mom was a single mom working, and she worked multiple jobs, you guys. Like truly, my mom was so amazing. I never knew it. I was in the aftercare program until 6 p.m. She was the last one there to pick me up because she was like trying to make it work. So I feel like she was living that stressful life, right? Like,
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, I guess I could see that the point of, they probably were stressed. Also, I thought of it this way too, of I think we have a lot of conveniences that our parents didn't have.
Yeah.
Like imagine like
Grocery delivery.
you can get grocery delivery. You sign all your kids up for things online. Like how did our parents do that before?
They were filling out forms
Yeah.
and paperwork. They were calling the school on the phone.
Yep.
On the pay phone.
Getting in line, doing it
and
in
just
person.
even like online shopping. I mean, being able to like
Dude.
just quickly go onto Target and order my kids' clothes like
And
before you had to go to
Amazon.
the store.
I know. Right?
Wild.
You forget something now and you're like, oh, I'm just going to Amazon it or I'm just going to do Target and go
I know.
pick it up. Or
So we do have
you know,
some more modern conveniences.
Okay.
But then we
maybe
also, there's a lot more stress.
I
It's a
agree.
lot more.
I agree.
Because then that all creates stress, guys. Let's talk about the camp signups at 9 a.m. on a Monday morning.
Yeah, no.
You're like, wait, what?
No.
They're forgetting.
We're through that.
Someone must have forgot that the rest of the parents
Guys,
are working.
Who's setting these signups up? I'm just wondering.
But I'm just gonna remind
PSA,
you,
please stop.
Does it have to be during work hours?
No,
it has to be.
Make the window open at 9 p.m. I will gladly, everyone's asleep. I will gladly sit on the couch and do that. Pro tip.
well, guys, we're going to be there in just a mere matter of months because you start signing up for summer camp in January.
No.
So we're not that far away.
No.
I also, as we were talking about the shift in the stress amongst generations, do you think there will be a shift for being a parent will be less stressful in future generations? So for our kids, when they're parents, do you think we're going to do enough as a society to help lessen the stress.
Well, thanks to Vivek, I hope that we're going to start to implement, the United States is, I think, stands alone in this. Like, there's other countries who do like paid maternity leave and paternity leave. Is it Switzerland that does it for like, I think Sweden does it for.
Most countries have a year.
Like a year.
Like even up in Canada, you get a year.
Yeah.
Like, we are behind.
And like, you're seriously, like in Germany, I'm thinking in particular, you're like protected as an employee. Like you take that year and there's no repercussion. If you need more time, you're protected. Yeah. I also think the younger generation, to build on this, is, I'm thinking Gen Zers, and even, forgive me for not knowing what's the generation even after them. I don't know.
There's a generation after that's been named.
Is it Y?
I don't know. No, Y's older than us, I think.
Ew.
It doesn't matter. The whole point of where I'm going with this is I think they've been very outwardly spoken about wanting to not take on this stress.
Yeah.
And so like, good for them, because hopefully they'll get there.
I mean, I've heard people say they have decided not to have children just because the environment and the support, and like they financially would not be able to support a child. And that is soul crushing to hear that. Like, how do we not have support systems in place?
But can I tell you, I've also talked to some women recently who feel like they got duped into having children. So women our age who were duped. Like, we were sold from society like, hey, this is what you're supposed to do. Graduate college, then you get married, then you have children, or then you get married, then you buy a house, then you have children. Like, these were like things that society was telling us to do, but nobody was telling us how hard it would be. And I agree. Like, trust me, I'm so happy where I'm at right now, but no one ever told me how hard it was. I had no idea. I had this romanticized idea about having children, and a woman that I was speaking with recently was like, dude, I feel like I got tricked. No one told me how hard it would be, how expensive it would be.
Yeah.
Like how like soul crushing and 24/7 it would be. It's also very rewarding.
Yeah.
And we're so fortunate and so lucky. I feel like I don't have to say that to our listeners at this point. They know we feel that way. But yeah, it was an interesting perspective. She was like, I got fucking duped. Like, no one told me to like pause. This is what it'll take to have kids. Everyone's just like, have kids. It's the most amazing thing in the world. Okay, well,
we've just been through like
expenses.
I think us and like
responsibility.
Our time of becoming parents, there's just been like just this rapid like evolution of society and like social media. I saw something the other day of like, we're the last generation that'll ever know life before social media. Isn't that crazy?
That is crazy.
Crazy. And even just think about the pressure. Like now all the like the homes you see on Instagram, and I do it to myself. Look around my house. Look around your house. Look around your house. It's like the perfect pristine home. I can tell you my home. Sorry, Mom. Sorry, Dad. My home did not look like this growing up. Like there was stuff everywhere. There was clutter, and they didn't care.
Yeah.
But we all of a sudden care very much.
Jesus, I'm stressed out just talking about
too. I'm
this.
like, oh God.
But like, I mean, there's been so many studies on how stress is definitely bad for your health. And I think this is important that now it's called out. Like parenting actually can be bad for your health. Do you guys buy into that?
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, I think we are examples of that.
But I think it's true. It's like the lack
how much
of
sleep you get.
I know
no
the lack
sleep.
of sleep.
I get no sleep.
Literally for
and
the
stress,
last 7 years.
And you're always planning. And I think it's also you're putting somebody else before yourself. So
and then we're supposed to like interact with everyone. We're like, hey, how are you? Have you seen that Instagram video going around? And it's like the mom at mom drop off. We should recreate it. And she's like, hi. And then she's like, oh no, wait, let me try that again. And I'm like, dude, that's how I feel. One. 90% of
but
the
even
time.
Like the amount of times it's like I will have on my list like schedule doctor's appointment for myself, and it'll be like months before I get to it to schedule. And then you go to schedule it and they're like, oh, sorry, we can see you in 8 months. You're like, but I have this problem. And they're like
my skin's falling
like, good
off.
luck.
My skin's
like,
falling off.
I have this infection, I think. Like we should really get this looked at. Like, but you can't. It's wild. You just put other people first, and of course, like that's always what I want to do. But And I think listening to our Nurture by Naps episode, that was important of like, maybe you do need to pause because you do have to put yourself first. Otherwise, you're not going to be in a good spot.
Oh, it's so true. It's so true.
But it's so hard to do. And if you don't have the support, like reading this public health advisory, I was like, oh my God, I hope nobody who's thinking about becoming a parent reads this.
I know. I actually have to be honest. I thought that too. I was like, I'm so happy they put that out into the universe because like finally and but also I was like, whoa, we might see a lot less births in the next 10 years.
Should we put a trigger warning on this episode? New and expecting moms, do not, it's a little late now, but do not listen to this episode.
No, because it's also wonderful.
It is the best thing.
But I think I think that the message that's there is that like we have to change. Like we have to have support measures.
Yes.
Like especially, I mean, right now it feels extra, like for me, it feels personal because I feel like I've been feeling overwhelmed between my job that's ramping up and my kid's life is ramping up at the same time.
Yes.
And it's like, whoa.
And you also have this small little side gig.
Yeah. Then we have the podcast.
What?
So like, it just feels, like I was like, is this article speaking to me? Is this like permission to like go take a
nap? It was very timely because I think we've all had conversations with this friend group and we'll get into it. I think at the end, we do want to offer some of our tips and some advice of what you can do to help with these feelings.
Yeah.
And get that support system, hopefully. But there were some key points that I did want to go through because, I'm the stats girl. The fact checker is off tonight, but I did my own fact checking. So I'm going to have to read from the script here. But I just thought these were some staggering points. And I do like that this was backed by data because it wasn't just him being like, it feels tough. But so they've done these polls. So 48%, so nearly half of parents say that on most days they feel completely overwhelmed by stress.
Yeah.
And agree. I mean, we've all been there.
Yeah.
Also, totally it seems kind of low to me because the other half of dads like, what? It's got to be higher.
The other half dads.
That is, Mandy. Yes, they are.
Yes.
Babe, I love you, but
they're like, what? I'm not stressed.
He probably can't be stressed
because I walked out the door. There was clean underwear in my drawer.
After pooping for 25 minutes.
We love you guys, but wow.
Love you.
Maybe they have to hide their stress because they are definitely trying to calm me and keep me calm, which I definitely appreciate.
Yeah, that's true.
Okay, so this next one is crazy to me.
Yeah.
Parents are struggling with loneliness, and 75% of parents, particularly single parents, report feeling lonely.
So sad.
Guys, this is sad to me.
5%.
But can I be real vulnerable right now?
Mm.
Okay, it's not just single parents. I'm married, I have a husband, and I would say up until recently, and I used to talk about this all the time with my friends that were pregnant, I used to say pregnancy felt isolating and lonely, right? Because like I was on such a different track than my husband. Like I felt like crap. I was tired. I was doing my own thing. But I do feel like even if you have a significant other, parenting can feel lonely.
Yes.
And
agree.
By the way, I have you guys. I have other friends. And I feel like I have a good core group of women that I can go to. But sometimes you still feel lonely. So I think about the women who haven't found their people and their core group of people. And how do those women feel?
No, it's really hard. I mean, we've talked about it before, but like, I struggled for years of like, you're out there, you're trying to meet people and you don't find the people you can connect with. And you're like, what is wrong with me? Is it me? Like, why?
Yeah. And I think even in your marriage with your partner, you might have a loving partner who you love a lot. But I think when you're in the shit and you're like in parenting, sometimes you're like passing ships in a night and you're like not fully
and
connected.
You're both so sleep deprived and you're just getting the stupid fights.
Like I was just having this conversation with a girlfriend. It's like, oh, how are you? How's your partner? And it's like, dude, like it's hard right now. Like, so you can feel lonely even if you're in a relationship. And I think people don't talk about that a lot. Maybe that's like another episode, but I'm sure like if you ask my husband, he might say the same thing. Like we're so caught up doing our own things.
Yeah.
And it's hard sometimes. Like you feel disconnected.
I think there was a public health advisory on loneliness as well. I'm pretty
Really?
sure. Or there was some big thing a couple months ago. Particularly men report feeling very lonely. So even men who are in relationships go through these feelings as well. And actually, I probably believe that men particularly, probably do feel more lonely than women sometimes. I think it was a post-COVID survey.
You know
I should
what's
find
I
that.
believe that.
You know what's funny though? After don't you feel like during COVID, and I know it's different for everyone, but in our little community, like people really banded together and like
That's how we got close.
I know,
but I still feel like I felt so lonely.
You
during
did?
COVID. Oh
You
my
did?
God. I had such small children.
I know.
Yeah, it was hard.
It was super hard. But then we had, what was the app that we had where we were like on
Marco
on a
Polo?
Marco Polo
I still
app?
use Marco Polo.
You do?
What?
But so
Yep.
we would
Oh,
all
I'm sending you a Marco Polo.
Dude, same. I'm gonna re-download it. But how fun was that? We had this
It was
great
really
group
fun.
of women,
Yeah.
and we were like being so, because we were lonely. We were being so real and so vulnerable. Like I look back at some of the posts that I must have done. I'm like, how freaking cringe was that? But you know what? We were being real.
Yeah.
I'm going to
Okay,
bring us back
so-
to this article.
So the last stat was about financial instability, and it was singled out as one of the most significant root causes of parental wellness on the decline.
100%
I see
believe that.
I do too. I just sometimes I stop I was writing checks for daycare recently because it's the start of the month, and I was just like, what? How do people?
How do people afford
feel really fortunate that
Agree.
I have the ability to go to a daycare
Agree.
that I can come. But I was just like, wow.
I love that you just brought that up because, by the way, we are sitting in a seat of privilege, and I will never not acknowledge that. I
Yes.
think we have all worked very hard to get where we are. We are also all very privileged. And I think, to your point, I think about the listeners who can't afford daycare or can't afford groceries or
No, it's
people
heartbreaking.
out in the world. Like, dude,
Or their career path they chose isn't something that pays a ton of money, and it might not make sense to send your child away. And then
exactly.
somebody younger and more energetic comes up behind you and takes that role because you've had to step away for a few years. I mean, it's just crazy to me.
Guys,
Dude,
I'm going to
it's
just
nuts.
move to an island at this point in time.
Oh,
I know.
I feel like I could cry.
After our Vermont getaway, John and I were like, should we just move somewhere remote and just
Live off
Then
the
you'll
grid.
really
live
be
off the
lonely.
land?
Yeah, you'll be too lonely. We might come up. We might come up and visit.
wives?
I might. It does seem really appealing to me
don't
actually at
know.
this point in time. I don't know. I don't think there's a right answer, but it is tough out there. I mean, this might be kind of the boring talk, and then we'll get to some of our tips. But so it was nice that in the health advisory, I really do like this guy Vivek. I think I would love to have a dinner party with him. But not only
Does he have an Instagram? Let's reach out.
actually, we should. I wonder if he would come on the podcast. Actually, that's a good idea. Follow that one tomorrow. Probably
Mandy
tonight.
made a mental note.
Probably tonight when I'm not sleeping.
She already pinned him. Don't worry.
My assistant. I don't have one. I wish I did.
Okay.
But not only did he kind of raise us, but I like when he kind of put some practical things we could do. I think that it's very easy to list these in the advisory. We'll see if they come to fruition. But, national paid family leave and medical leave. It's wild we don't have that.
I know.
Childcare assistance. I mean, right now it's wild that the dependent care is only $5,000 per family. That's not that's
Wild.
It
Yeah.
barely covers.
Yeah, people that
Come
are
on.
sending their kids to daycare know that doesn't cover anything.
That we don't have paid family leave or paid sick time, or poverty reduction programs. It's just there's so much that we can do as a country, and we're not doing. Why are we
We're
so behind?
We're really behind globally. I think.
We're so behind.
Yes.
It's just even the parental leave, maternity leave.
Oh, no.
It's wild.
Wild.
Even paternity leave is not a standard thing in this country.
No, it's not. And I feel like men get penalized for using it, right?
Yes.
My husband had full paternity leave and he didn't use it.
Yeah.
He was like,
there's-
I can't
yeah.
use that. And I don't blame him.
It's wild.
Yeah.
So,
No wonder the parents are stressed.
and I think as females, when we come back from maternity leave, it's like, almost feels like a punishment sometimes, right? Like whether it's meant to or not, it's like, well, you haven't been here in 3 months.
Or how about going back to work and you're trying to like pump because you're trying to still breastfeed your child, and that kind of looks down.
Oh yeah,
like
they're
people
like,
are
you
like,
have to pump again.
Yeah, like how long is it going to be? It's like, it's over.
My boobs are going to explode.
Fuck off. I'm going to go sit in this room.
I know.
Literally.
There is some of that, but I do have to say where I work has gotten better. Like we have an ease back period
For
now.
sure.
And like
it's coming along.
colleagues are like, no, they are like, no, you need to take that. So
Yeah,
that's
I like
nice.
that.
I think we need to like outsiders looking in on your colleagues or your friends, be like, no, take the time, give
I
everyone
agree.
the
And support your
I
support
agree.
your
And
people that have kids.
Yeah.
And I say this all the time. I work for a company. It's very small. The founders have very small children like me, and I'm gonna give the male on our team a shout out. Pretty recently, like with back to school, these last couple weeks was crazy, and we had a client trying to meet with us, and he was like, "No, we can meet after X date once all the kids are back in full time school."
That's awesome.
And coming
that.
from a dad, that was so huge because, you know, when this client was trying to make this meeting, I was like having a panic. I was like, wait, I don't have childcare for one of my kids. And he was like, dude, he was like, no, we can't meet until this date after everyone's back at school. And I think coming from a male and him saying that was like so powerful that I think like men listening and like females listening, like, let's be more vocal. I used to hide that I was like, oh, I can't talk now. I am busy. And now I'm like, I can't talk now. I'm with my family. I can't talk now. I'm on vacation.
Do that.
Like, let's start being more honest about it.
And I do
Yeah.
think it's becoming like it is this pendulum shift. I do feel like it's becoming more acceptable to say that, whereas probably 5-10 years ago, I don't
Agree.
think. So I think we're on the right trajectory here.
Yes.
That it is becoming more acceptable to set your boundary, protect your space, and also say, I'm struggling and need help.
I agree.
Or I'm busy and I can't do this because of this.
Yeah.
And that I think leads us to our next section, which I think we're going to spend some time on. I know we're all about providing solutions here, so we can bitch and moan, but maybe maybe some practical
Hope you're
tips
still with us.
from the ladies of M&O, because you know what? I do think that we've been living this and we're in it, and hopefully we can offer some tips.
Are
some
we
advice.
veterans? I think we might be.
I think we're veterans at this point.
We're becoming veterans. And I think ultimately this is like, again, and I'm jumping ahead, but like why we started this podcast, to have these conversations and to talk to women and to talk to each other. And we hope you feel like you're sitting in the living room with us right now.
Yeah, and also always reach out to us. Like DM us. Like I
We're
love
here.
when people send us stories or like asking for advice or like, hey, I'm struggling with this. And I love
guys.
responding
Me
to
too.
them.
Same.
Me too.
We get so many messages and it really like lights me up. And
I
I'm
love
like,
it.
oh my God, I feel like I'm best friends with you all when you
Me
message
too.
us. I'm like,
Yeah.
oh my God.
And my favorite, I just love when you guys also will be like, oh my God, I can relate. And, you know, I just went through this situation. I just love hearing that. So
Me too.
please never stop
Never stop doing
sending
that.
it in. Okay, little shout out. All right.
Okay, first thing up is find your village. And I know that sounds so much easier said than done. I mean, Amanda said it took years, and I would agree. I felt the same way. It
Yeah.
took me years, and it wasn't just because of COVID. It's like finding people you feel comfortable, like you can truly open up and be like, hi, this is going on. I need to talk about it. That's hard. So I say that, but I say that also with love and support, that I know that that's not an easy thing.
I agree.
I agree.
Find your village, or those moms in your town at the very least. You're like, hey, I can't get to soccer practice today. Can you help? Can you pick up
Yes.
so-and-so?
Yeah, don't
That
be
is
afraid
small,
to ask for it.
But sometimes that's such a nice thing if you can find a parent in town that you trust, that just that alone.
I agree. And I think so many people have like grandparents and family around that help, but so many people don't have that, right? Personally, I don't have that. Just where we are at geographically and things going on in life. And so you guys are really my village. And so I so appreciate it. So if you're someone who has a lot of family help, I feel like reach out to those people that don't have a lot of family help, right? And like help them.
Yeah, I think I'm going to sort of, that brings me to another little area of, I think it's okay to like, don't be afraid to ask for help. I mean, just something as simple as what Jenny, you said is, if your neighbor, somebody you're kind of close with, is going to the same sports
place.
practice,
Yeah.
it's okay to ask. And actually, sometimes it makes it easier. So if I have to bring my daughter to practice and I'm picking up one of your daughters, my kids are so much more obedient.
Same.
Like they get completely dressed. They get in the car right away. They are pumped.
Same.
Yeah.
And so
And
I
I
don't
love
know,
doing
why
it.
do we not do it? Because then we feel like we're missing out or we're bad parents. But no.
I feel sometimes like
Yeah.
guilty for
Guilty.
asking. I'm like, I can't believe I'm going to put this burden on
Divide and
to
conquer.
somebody else to pick them up. But at the end of the day, it's dumb to think that way. Like we're okay to
know.
share responsibility and ask for help.
And pick a week. Like this week on Tuesday, it's your day. Next week is my day. Like divide and conquer. Everyone take turns.
And
I don't do that. We don't do that enough.
we don't. Or
Let's
even
start doing it. We're going to have to, by the way.
even one day this summer, this mom in town knew like our kids were in the same camp in the morning. And one day she was like, hey, my mom watches the kids in the afternoon. Why don't you drop both your kids off? And I just remember, I was like, wait, what? Like
That's so nice.
my job was like on the ground. I was like, okay, I'm not really like, I'm close with her, but I never would have thought to ever do that.
I know.
It was so nice.
I have a
That
hard
is
time
nice.
accepting that help. And I
Me
think
too.
I'm going to try to be better
I know.
at
And
it.
for a while in my head, I was like, I'm going to respond, no, thank you. And then I was like, wait, but no, just accept it.
Yeah.
Like she is offering this to you.
Yep.
Take it.
Take it.
You don't offer if you don't
Run.
mean it. Right? Yeah. I have some moms like that are always offering. And I'm like, why are you doing this
why?
for me? I feel like I'm not doing it back.
Yeah.
Thank
No.
you.
Yeah.
It's really nice. Okay. The next one is, and this is like my saying, work smarter, not harder.
It's not as
Like-
fancy as a Rick Rubin quote.
I know,
but I'll take it.
I feel like Rick would be into this. Like I am all for that. It's like the grind and hustle culture is so toxic, and I think it's starting to go away. And there's more of this work-life balance. But guys, I'm guilty of this. I grew up, and it was like our parents were like the 9 to 5 grind, and
I
like
know.
you have to always be doing something. I
Yeah.
think this is why we have such a problem doing nothing. I see it with my husband. I see it with my girlfriends, you guys, when we go away somewhere. Like we cannot just sit down and stop. And it's like, no.
No, I know.
Like work smarter,
bad.
not harder. You don't have to work 90 hours a week if you can get your job done in 60 or 40 or 50, whatever it is. Like do that. Buckle
Multitask.
down
Yeah.
and be efficient.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Mic drop.
This one, I feel like Mandy kind of already touched on it, but it was the person to offer the help. So like if you see someone struggling or someone that needs it,
Yeah.
be the one that's like, hey, I'll do that for you. I'll drop off dinner.
Yeah.
Yeah, you don't do the like, can I? Or like,
Just
what'd be helpful?
offer it.
You just got to do it.
Yeah.
Hey,
you guys are both really good at that.
Hey, I'm thinking
I
of
think you're good
dropping
at
off. I do too. I'm going to drop off dinner. Pick a night that works
Yeah.
for you.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But it's just that simple shift
I know.
that it's so easy to forget. And then when you hear it, you're like, well, duh. But
I agree.
I know. I love the Nurture by Naps. When we
Yes.
were talking to them, they were like, come in and say, I'm going to do it this week. Tell me the day that you want me to
Exactly.
do it.
I know.
and then it's so much easier for
so
the person
helpful.
to be like, okay, Tuesday. Tuesday's great.
Yeah, Tuesday's the day.
Tuesday's great. And maybe Wednesday too. I don't want to be greedy, but I could use both.
Literally.
Please.
Yeah.
I think this is important. Like, be honest with your employer on your work-life balance. I mean, it's so hard to have to like talk to your boss or even about like being in the office. Like in my current situation, in the summer, like I just couldn't go to the office. It was too hard with like the childcare and
Pick up,
camps
drop
and all
off.
pick up, drop off. And it's just, and luckily I have a very supportive boss who has children, and his wife was also working. So like, I think he understands that dynamic of two working parents and having kids. And he was totally receptive. I understand that was a very special and unique situation, but I had to actually, kind of verbalize like, hey, I can't come in. I have my 2 kids, and
It's true.
I you want me there from 10 to 2? I could do that, but that's a waste of my time. I'm going to be it's
In
done.
the car
Yeah.
for 2 hours. No, it's
So
true.
I guess it's like you kind of have to, at some point, if you're struggling, have that conversation. And I think most people are reasonable in the workplace. but some are not. And I don't have any advice for how to deal with that other than leave your company.
Yeah, find a new job. Well, I think on the same note, this made me think of like, okay, be honest with your employer. Be honest with yourself. You guys.
Yeah.
I need to work on this. So many times I'm like, oh, my dog's barking in the background.
Pepper.
We don't know what's happening.
John dropped a nacho on the floor and Pepper wants it.
Literally, that's actual, guys, what's happening. But like, be honest with yourself, I think, because I can't. What's happening?
She's going to be coming down here in
John's
2
like,
seconds.
shh. He's like shushing her. He's like, be quiet. I'm going to get in trouble. But be honest with yourself, because I thought about this. I think a lot of times I'm not honest with myself and I'm like, no, I got this. No, I'm good. Yeah. And like, maybe I'm actually not good.
Yeah. Oh, 100%
I'm not
of the time.
okay. And I'm like, oh shit.
Yeah.
Help.
Wait.
Be
Yeah.
honest with yourself.
That actually just hit. Yes.
Yeah. Like, and like, we all probably need some help. So like, let's just be honest with ourselves. It's not a weakness. I think of it as that, which I know that's not right.
Yeah.
So.
No, I don't think it's weakness.
Right?
Yeah. The next one is be honest with a friend. What's the point if you can't be honest with your friends? But no, I think that truly it is good to open up and say, hey, I need help.
Don't you think? I feel like without getting into details, I feel like we all had a recent conversation where we were like all feeling overwhelmed. And it's like,
yeah,
dude, like to your point, like if you can't be real with your friends, like, are those even your friends?
I agree.
Like you shouldn't have to posture with your friends, right? Like you should be like, fuck, send help. But and your so friends hard, like, I'll be right there.
It's so hard to like be able to admit that and get to that point.
Yeah.
I agree. I struggle.
And they shouldn't be your friends.
I struggle with it.
Kick them out. It's hard. Kick them out. Or you kick yourself out. But it's so hard to admit. I don't know what, but
it's like
about it.
In
like,
your own head, because I feel like when you do like, and then your friends are like, wait, what? That's how you're feeling? And then everyone's like, shit.
I feel that way too.
Yeah. And shit, I had no idea because you seem like you're doing so great, right?
I know. Well, it's like you're operating at a certain level. That's, I think, the thing. And you're just like, I'm going to keep going.
Totally.
Because if I just keep flying,
you'll
get through it.
I won't crash.
I know.
Okay. The next one was give yourself and give others grace. Okay. So this was one that I was really thinking about when we were prepping for this episode. So often, like I'll have an interaction with someone and I'll be like, well, that was weird and that didn't go well. And then I like get pissed off and I'm like, well, what the heck is... Yeah, I don't sleep for nights. And I'm like, well, what the heck is that person's problem? And why did they do this? And I can't believe they did this to me. But guys, most of the time, it's something deeper. It's something bigger. Like something else is going on with that person. So like for me personally, I'm like, all right, I'm going to try not to take this personally.
Yeah.
This person obviously has something bigger going on that I have no clue about. And so this little interaction, and I do it too, like where I was triggered with someone, like had nothing to do with that particular person, or they caught me in a bad moment or something.
Yeah.
Right. So I'm like trying to like approach every situation with that. Like it's not all about you. It's not all about me. Everyone's living their own lives. Everyone has stuff to deal with. And like, let's have grace for others. And like, remember, everyone's fighting their own battle. It sounds so lame, but it's so true.
No, I love that. Everyone is fighting their own battle.
Right? And stuff that you might not even know about, like that they're keeping to themselves.
No, it is true. I agree.
Oh, this one.
Okay. So the next one is do something for yourself.
What?
Yep.
Seems impossible at times.
Doing that.
Yeah, you may feel completely overwhelmed, but finding time to do something for yourself is so valuable, even like 15 to 20 minutes.
Okay, it's so true. Even just in work, I think I have ADHD. Undiagnosed.
You do? Wow, I've never noticed.
Katie.
But something that you're supposed to do when you have ADHD, it's like it's like the blocks. It's like 45 minutes of work, 15-minute break. So I think doing something for yourself doesn't have to be extravagant, like going and getting a facial. It can be like, okay, I'm going to do XYZ for 45 minutes. Then I'm going to go for a 15-minute walk and like stretch my legs.
Get yourself a little reward.
Yeah.
Yeah. They actually say that getting fresh air and sunshine is like does
Huge.
wonders for you.
Yeah. Go walk
Yeah, you're
around
actually
outside.
supposed to, before you pick up your phone in the morning, you're supposed to actually go outside, and get sun in your face and your feet in the
ground
grass.
your feet.
Well, that
I'm not going to do.
I was like, that would add stress to my life.
But
what?
I would like to open the door and get some fresh air first.
I have to. Yes, that
Having
actually
a
is
dog,
a good one.
Having a dog helps for that. I'd take the dog out without shoes on. Boom.
Should I start taking Coco outside?
Yep.
Coco's my cat.
Put her on a
everybody.
leash.
For the new listeners. We do have a leash, by the way.
the best.
I know you do. I've seen
Or like at work, I work in the city, and so sometimes you get in this grind to your point where you're like on meetings. But I've noticed meetings are now 45 minutes long, or people are trying, which I really appreciate.
They're trying to go with
And
the
so
free
sometimes
Zoom.
I'll be like,
free Zoom accounts.
go and walk and get like a tea or a coffee.
Yeah.
You're like, it's like outside.
Yeah.
You're just
Tell
like,
you
I
the
gotta-
one
just
place
get
you
out.
should not go get coffee because it was $1 bazillion.
Where
I know,
did we
but I
go?
We're not
still like it.
She goes there.
She still goes there.
Don't
No, I
tell-
don't. I go to Starbucks.
Don't tell Mikey Cliff.
Little inside joke. No, I think even, and we talk again, I think it's relevant. We keep referring to the Nurture by Naps episode, but I feel like that whole thing was about prioritizing yourself. And it's, you have to find, I love that they put people's homework assignments of what are you going to do for yourself this week?
I do too.
And people
I
were
know.
like, could not even articulate,
I know.
even if it's reading for 10 minutes before bed or
I know. Taking a tubby.
taking
Taking a
a-
nice
taking
Epsom
a
salt
nice
tub. My
bath.
favorite.
Oh my God.
watching trashy TV counts.
I
That
agree.
does count.
I agree.
Does
hope.
count.
Little things. And then it could be extravagant. Get yourself a manicure, a
Yeah.
pedicure. Go get a facial.
Tell your husband I'm going away for a girls'
Go get
night.
some Botox. Like, go do all the things.
Get your hair done. My
You don't have to admit to it either. You can do it in secret.
No financial infidelity, please.
Okay, how about say no? It's okay to say no to things. I struggle with this. I am a recovering people pleaser, and
I
it is
love that term.
hard for me to say no. But
You're
I'm
doing a good job at
guys,
at it.
you
You're-
guys
you're
are
on a
helping
learning
me.
path.
And this
You're learning.
podcast, like saying no, it's flexing a muscle. So the more you say it, the easier it gets.
Yeah.
And like, I don't feel guilty anymore. I'm like, nope, that doesn't work for me and I can't do it. And it's okay to choose yourself and to say no.
I'm actually shocked you didn't put one of your favorite quotes in that right
What?
now.
Which one?
No is a complete sentence.
Right.
Mm.
Mic
You
drop.
can just say,
Mandy.
You
can-
missed that
I've-
opportunity.
I have learned from you. You just say no.
Oh
I
no,
have
we
not
don't.
learned.
No, we
I
can't
do not
make
say
it.
no.
You don't have to then justify it with a million reasons. Just say, no, we can't do that.
I know.
No.
No, I'm so sorry. We can't make that. No explanation needed.
And
Yeah.
actually, people will just accept that. And that's okay.
I know. I find myself being like, we can't make it because then we have to do this, and then we're doing this, and then I'm doing this, and then I'm like,
Yeah.
delete. No, I'm so sorry. We can't make it.
Or just do the no period. And that's very aggressive.
That's scary.
They never invite you to anything
Yeah.
again. They're like, peace out, bitch. Leading into healthy habits, the first one on your sleep,
you
I don't
laughing
get
at
sleep.
this?
Yeah.
But I think you've been working on it.
Working on it is good.
We're increasing your sleep.
We are.
We're trying
I'm
to.
almost to 7 hours.
That's amazing.
That's amazing.
That is
Jen.
really good.
Jen, when we first started this, you were at like 4.5, 5.
I agree.
I
or
actually
less.
function. My therapist was like, when I first started seeing her, she was like, wait, you're not fucking kidding? You get 4 hours of sleep every night? I was like,
No, Jen.
I do.
And you were
We're on a
doing
growth pattern.
Jen, you were doing that, and then you were also working out, and you were doing all the things.
I know, but we've learned.
I know.
Superhuman.
But I feel
now
like
we're-
that's a period. That's a period of life that every parent experiences. That's why hazardous parenting
30s.
happens,
Those were
right?
my 30s.
Like, and now you work on it, and you do. For all the new parents out there listening, like,
You'll
light
get
at
through
the
it.
end of the tunnel. Like, you will sleep again. I promise you, it's coming.
I'm in the glory
promise.
days right now.
Yeah, Mandy's in the glory days. I just started really sleeping again. And Jenny, I think, is about a year away. She's
You're
about a
getting there.
year away for real solid every night
There's
sleep.
a dim light really
You can
far
see
off.
it. You can see
It's
it.
coming.
It's coming, girl.
It's coming. You're getting
Hang in
it.
We're
there.
getting close.
So hang in there, parents. Okay, this one, you guys are going to make fun of me.
I love it.
Practice gratitude. Okay, and I know that sounds so lame, but when I went through the darkest time of my life, which I think I've shared on this podcast, was after my miscarriage. I actually joined a woman who had a course on like how to get pregnant. She was like amazing. And DM me if you want me to send you her. She's on Instagram. She's very well known. And her whole thing was practicing gratitude, right? So like shit might be really bad right now, but you can always write down like at least one thing that you're thankful for. I love that. Right? Like even if shit is hitting the fan, and I'm not going to go on and say everyone has this amazing life, right? Like shit can be really hard sometimes, but there is one thing. It can be like, I am grateful that I woke up this morning and had breakfast on the table, or I am grateful that my kids slept through the night last night. I am grateful that I got to take a shower today. Like start focusing on the things that you're grateful for. And I feel like that's like a complete mind shift, right? Instead of like being negative. And I still work on this today.
Yes.
Right. And like not like being like, oh, everything's bad and I want this and I want that and my life's not perfect and I'm not doing this and I'm not doing that. It's like, no, aim for 5. But if you can only come up with 1, you're in good shape.
I like
one
that.
thing you're grateful for.
I like 1 too.
Right?
Feels manageable.
Right?
And that really made me think of like when you were saying, oh, I'm not doing this, I'm not doing that. I think also it's important, and this is, I think, one of the big stressors that Vivek called out is in this age of social media, it's so easy to go online and start to compare yourselves to others.
Yeah.
But like, guys, that is a very curated life that a lot of these people are putting out there.
I
Like,
know.
lower your expectations. It's okay if your birthday for your kids is asking them what their favorite meal is. You don't need a balloon arch. You don't need all this other shit.
Can we talk about
Fucking
that?
balloon arches.
You don't need all of this.
Fuck off with the balloon arches. And
your
sorry if
kids-
you own a balloon arch business. Love ya, but
At the end of the day, your kids aren't going to remember that. They're going to remember just that feeling of feeling loved by you. Just lower your expectations. Like, don't do that.
dude,
I do love that advice.
it's so true. Like I've been scooping my kids up and just like hugging them and
That's
loving
what they're
them.
going to remember.
Same.
And that is like life changing.
Yeah.
Also, how
They
much
don't-
does that lower your stress level when you do that?
Dude, so,
so
much.
much.
And by the way, like truly, your kids are never going to be like, my mom was so amazing. She got this amazing balloon arch for me. They're
With
going to be like,
multiple colors.
yeah, they're going to be like, dude, my mom, I remember the simple things. They're going to be like, my mom, something I remember so vividly about my dad. I could tell you a million mom stories too, but my dad would pick me up in the kitchen and he would dance with me and he would like sing this song.
They remember.
It's like dance with the dolly with the hole in her stockings. Have you ever heard that?
Yes.
And he would sing with that and dance with me in the kitchen. That is a vivid core memory. I must have been teeny tiny, but I remember dancing in the kitchen with my dad. And so I make damn sure that I dance in the kitchen with my kids often. And you guys, that's the stuff they remember. You don't have to be fancy.
Yeah. It's good. It's
But
a good
what does that do
reminder.
for you? It probably lowers your stress level. And that's, I think, very relevant to this episode of it's so easy to get wrapped up in like the everyday life and you're stressing and you're trying to run here and run there and compare yourself and do this and that. But maybe just slow it down.
Slow down.
Enjoy the moments with your kids. Hug them.
Love them.
Enjoy your spouse if you
Also,
have one.
You're not alone.
And you're not alone.
If
You're
you
not
feel
alone.
fucking overwhelmed, you're not alone.
DM us because
And this is why we started this podcast.
I know.
And that's where I want to leave everybody tonight.
I
It's
know.
like, hey, shit's hard out there.
it really is.
And we're in it with you. We're
We're
probably all going to cry after we
I
end
know.
this one.
We're in it with you. We're right there, and we're here if you need us. So, like, if you're looking for some support and friendship, we're here.
Absolutely.
We don't go out as much as we used to, so
It's ironic.
but I'll be your text friend.
And if you want another event, we could always do another meetup. I love meeting.
I know
our
that would be
fan
fun
base.
to do a meetup. Maybe do like coffee.
Yeah, it might have to be like a drive-by, like
without
like
kids.
drive-by. Hi. We'll stand outside a location and just we can high five.
God.
Guys,
Oh, God.
gotta keep the humor.
We love you.
All right. Good night.
Love
night.
you.
Cheers.